Jake Rahman here, and welcome to another episode of Between Two Simulators. Today we're joined by Kendal Bailey, who's the Director of Nursing for SimX, and we're delighted to have you on board for a little conversation.
I cannot wait. Thank you so much for having me. Could not be more excited. I know, I come in pumped, right?
Oh yeah,
Yes.
no, that's amazing. You couldn't be more excited. That's brilliant.
No, I'm a pretty high amped individual, so this is fantastic for me.
Well, you're going to be disappointed throughout this interview.
Oh, good. Okay, at least we set the tone now.
So Kendal, is really interesting. You've got a really interesting background, and we set out these interviews to find out more about the people as well. It's nice to find out about the company and the corporate side of it and everything like that. But you've had a great sort of career in nursing, and I think people from a clinical background make great people within corporate companies. So what made you go from nursing into a company like SimX?
Well, I love that question because I have to say I'm still a nurse. I'm very much a nurse, not even just I'm still an active clinician. I still work bedside. So I still work and encounter patients all the time. But I will say what I love about the nursing profession and what's grown in the business industry is there are now new nursing roles. And what I consider now is my way to impact the nursing profession in a really large scale with my work with SimX that I wouldn't necessarily have had the opportunity to at the institutional level. And I really wanted more of like a macro impact from what I saw at that micro level and the difficulties I encountered in my own career. So I still very much identify as a nurse. I'm a nurse at bedside. I am a nurse educator, and I love being a nurse leader, and I get the opportunity and pleasure to do all of those aspects in my career.
Well, I mean, so, it's so good to hear that you're continuing with your nursing career alongside working with SimX. That's really important. And actually, to say to the other companies out there, if you ever get somebody like you that wants to still practice, you've got to encourage it.
Yes,
you've got to encourage it.
Yes.
So with regard to SimX, what makes it so special? What attracted you? Because your skills could probably be used in a lot of other companies, but you chose SimX.
I did.
So why?
Well, actually, I had the honor of working with SimX on the customer side. I worked for a hospital system. I was their director of professional development, and what I saw was we were overexposing our healthcare professionals to computer-based education that was not effective. We were constantly in this cycle of deploying continuous LMS modules, and we were never getting the quality outcomes we wanted. Our staff did not feel like they were prepared to engage. They were not confident or competent in their skills. And then with the transition in COVID and the new grads that were coming into the healthcare environment, they didn't feel prepared. We had to have something better. And I had a very small educational team. I didn't have the time or the resources to implement traditional simulation. I didn't have a storage room. I didn't have a classroom. And this is very much a lot of the environment for healthcare education and healthcare professional development. And so I looked at SimX, and I really loved them, and I believed in their mission, and they aligned with the goal to get to better patient outcomes. And I actually implemented the program and did a research study on it with our experienced nurses on their perceptions and usability of SimX as a platform. And it went really well. And I got to know the team, and it was this incredible group of innovative clinicians and innovators who wanted to change what the current market was. And that is everything I'm passionate about, and I hope is better for the next nurse and for the next patient that I work with. And so it was just a great opportunity to transition into that same macro perspective of having a larger impact that I saw at several institutions amongst my colleagues and peers as a simulationist and as a nurse leader.
Yeah, I mean, that's really good. Counted, Max. Hello, we're back in the room.
Great, thank
Yeah,
you.
we're back in the
We
room.
went all over the world during that time.
Yeah,
we went virtual.
you missed so much. You missed so much.
So much.
So basically, we've gone through your career. We've spoken about why you've chosen SimX. I think now is the time to tell us about SimX.
Yes.
So give us a brief history of SimX. Tell us exactly why SimX is different, and you know, and how you separate yourself from the competition.
Yeah, I think one of the big things is SimX has been around for 13 years, so it's not a new company, it's not a new organization, and it was founded by healthcare professionals. It was founded by clinicians, several who were during their residency to become a provider, and what they experienced, which is what resonates with me, is a similar experience from other students and other healthcare professional roles, is they went through a simulation experience. They went to schools that had beautiful simulation centers that were very well developed and put together, but what they found was they either didn't get continued time in simulation because of the scheduling difficulties and the resources that were needed, and then some of the simulations they had, they weren't realistic because there is a limitation to what we can display with certain modalities of simulation, and they wanted to make sure that there were opportunities and options to really display different acuities and then different disease processes that had a high level of realism. And at the end of the day, to really make sure that we were implementing a really strong educational platform that, again, made clinicians feel like they were confident and had better patient care outcomes. So again, I think what makes it different for SimX is we are healthcare providers. Several of our team members are still actively practicing, like myself, so we are in the medical field daily, seeing the challenges, seeing the problems. We also truly believe in a lot of the best practice standards of simulation and having multiplayer simulations. We also believe in the accessibility and the educational equity that should come along with simulation to allow for remote-based access. And again, the ultimate goal that no matter your facility or what those are for the educational allotments, you can get to really high-level outcomes. And I think that's a lot of the differences there. We're looking at the healthcare spectrum, not just one scope or level of learner in healthcare, and providing as much opportunity to get there as possible.
Yeah, so you're looking at a whole of allied healthcare.
Yes, because it's never one person. It is a team of individuals that really have to hone in on the IPE, that interprofessional education, and learn how to communicate and work together. And it's not just that psychomotor skill of a task or a procedure. It's not just the cognitive skill sets. It is also those non-technical skills of collaboration and teamwork that I really see as some of the biggest benefits for SimX, and what can be developed in your learner population is utilize those platforms.
Yeah, and one of the unique parts of SimX and the platform as well is a dynamic element when creating these scenarios. Could you share a bit of that?
Yeah, and I think that really, you know, as we all look, I'll say here, right, at IMSH, as we're having this presentation, and there's this level of getting to a really good level of representational fidelity. How close can we get to that clinical environment? And I think that's really where SimX has shined, is ensuring that not only are simulations really going to promote clinical reasoning, and that there's a variety in clinical scenarios, but they're complex. And you're going to learn when you're going to get in it. And I'm not going to tell you how to do it. And really then there's a beautiful gift in moderation to see that learner and help progress them or scaffold that learning so they can be really successful and have a good experience in simulation.
I mean, it's clear that you're investing a lot of money. It's clear that you know, the content development is getting better and better. You've definitely got the best carpet in the whole of the.
It's really about the carpet, right? Like, it's got to have a standalone carpet to walk around. Right? I'm not going to go to a booth if they've got poor carpet.
No, I might just go over and roll around on the carpet later on.
You should.
Okay, it looks like it's like that.
It's ready to go. It's ready. It's like a good chair. Like, you've got to have it ready.
Good chair.
Yes.
These chairs and that carpet.
Yeah.
So it's pretty clear as well the way you position yourself in the marketing that SimX is looking, without you know, upsetting lots of other people in here, is looking to be an alternative or a complement to using patient simulators. was that a conscious decision that you guys decided to do?
Yeah, I will completely say to you, it's a compliment.
Yeah.
And I think that's a beautiful word. It is not a replacement. It is not a standalone. And I will say that for any type of simulation modality.
Yeah.
There is no one type of simulation that works any one institution. And what that magic, that beauty of a simulated experience is matching that to your level of learners, matching that to the unique needs of your institution, and then ensuring your faculty can align that to their curriculum.
Yeah.
And that can be, it should be a mix. It very much should be a mix across the spectrum of simulation modalities. And that's exactly what we are. We are another complement and another tool in the toolbox to be highly successful when you talk about a simulation program within your curriculums.
Yeah, and that sort of moves it on nicely, actually, because it's always a question, especially when it comes to XR, VR, AR.
No.
How are you embedding it into curriculums? How are you assuring that people use it again and again?
Well, I'm so glad that you asked that. It's like he knew exactly what my position was. Well, and that's the beauty of what I get to do. So I've had, again, the honor of being a nursing leader. I've also had the honor of being a nursing educator and an educational leader. And I think at the end of the day, there are so many wonderful products out there, but if you can't really align it to your program and really see the outcomes and show that it's effective. So through SimX, we actually have different tiered levels of support to meet the very unique needs of each institution, because we know each institution is at different places for their simulation programs. We have systems that have beautiful simulation centers and resources and very well trained educators and simulation operationalists. And then on the other spectrum, we don't always have that. And there should be that educational equity in the simulated experience. So we have integration support plans. We have unique tiers for each level and resource need. We also align to many of the healthcare standards and the competencies that come along with healthcare education. And then we also have a team of educational experts that work with each institution, seeing how they simulate experiences, providing feedback, talking about simulation best practices in formal classroom environments. So we really do have a comprehensive approach to supporting what that institution really needs in a unique way, in a specific way. Yeah.
I think that's really good to hear, because, once you've got the box, take out the headset, you've uploaded the software, it's that support afterwards that's going to embed it into the curriculum and keep it going.
Completely, right? We can't just stop and drop any simulation modality and assume that it's going to be successful.
Yeah.
There's always going to be a period of adoption and change, and that requires ongoing support.
So, with regard to you yourself personally, who are your heroes in healthcare simulation?
How much time do we have?
We've got loads of time.
Because if I'm about to name drop here, I got a list that'll last us through the end of the century here. I will honestly say, I think what I see is the majority of the heroes are the individuals walking around IMSH here who are willing to ask why, and they're willing to challenge the status quo. The simulationists, the educators, the leaders, the operations teams that are here that are saying, you know what? We want to be creative, and we want to try something new, and we want to develop and get to the best outcomes we can. They're not stagnant in what they're doing in their careers. And I think that's what keeps me passionate about what I do every day. I think it keeps SimX passionate about why we show up with our beautiful red carpet. And it's amazing. Yeah. And I think it really makes that game changer for how an institution can keep up with the learning needs of each generation and the current generation as they come forward. So honestly, those are the ones I absolutely wake up for every day, and those are my superheroes.
Fantastic. I've got a few more questions for you.
Oh, give it to me. Let's do it.
It's perhaps a little bit of a controversial question.
Oh, why did I hit me so hard today? I didn't obviously bribe you before we sat down. Dang, I missed that part.
Wait, so healthcare simulations, you as a clinician, everything you work with within your environment, within the hospital, all the medical devices, potentially giving pharmaceuticals, etc. It's all regulated. Your position, your qualification itself is regulated. What about healthcare simulation, and what about the healthcare simulation industry? Do you think there should be some sort of regulation involved?
I will be clear in the fact that I don't think regulation is a bad thing.
Yep.
I think that there needs to be protection for learners, but I want to say that there should be equity in the regulations there. And if I'm going to regulate a simulation experience, we should also be ensuring that that same regulations apply to lab, class, clinical, lecture, because the same damages and learning scars that can occur in a lecture can occur in sim.
Yeah.
And there needs to be that crossover. I have a big concern when it comes to overdoing regulations or, really getting into specific regulations that then do not allow institutions, due to their own individual resources, implement simulation.
Yep.
I don't think the conversation is that simulation is not amazing. We know that. We've seen it in the literature. We know it is an incredible experiential learning process. But we still have many institutions that lean back on teaching methods that are not as effective. Why? They know that simulation can have incredible outcomes. Well, it's the resources, it's the training, it's the available faculty who can moderate and run these. So my concern would be if we added more regulations, that some institutions would not then be able to continue to try to apply simulation as a better learning outcome and lean back on methods that are less effective because of ease. But I will say what I see is the biggest issue, and I hope as many institutions learn more about simulation and use more products. Faculty educator resources are essential.
Yeah.
And they have to come along with it.
Yeah.
And this really does, like any simulation modality, needs support, time, and that's what I really hope needs to be looked at and spoken about continually. Nobody picks up a specialty, a product, a process without education and training. And I hope the learner then gets the best experience on the other side.
Yeah, I think that is, regulation on the side, that it probably wouldn't be a question if all the companies gave as much support as you say you're giving to implement the product and within the curriculum and etc. That is the most important thing to keeping simulation going. So we're at the end of the interview now, really. So this is your chance for a shameless plug. Apart from the red carpet.
Oh, apart from the red carpet, okay. I know.
A shameless plug as to why people should come and visit SimX, what you've got coming out new that we might,
like a little bit of the teasers there is what you're talking about.
Yeah,
yes,
exactly.
Okay. What's coming up in the market?
What's coming?
I will say SimX, we are constantly moving. And again, it's because we are clinicians who are in the field seeing what's going on. And we know that there's still better areas we need to move to. I think that there's a lot of adoption when we talk about the use of AI in some more human language. And I think there's a lot of support coming with either moderated or moderator-less products, right? Because we do know that there are institutions who need more support and cannot necessarily always run a moderated simulation. And so I think there's really going to be coming that game changer there. And I think as we continue to develop the technology, the level of realism is only going to increase. I know SimX has one of the largest libraries for simulation, plug. And I know we look at the whole range of healthcare professions. So it's not just one, it's an entire healthcare community. And I think SimX is incredibly dedicated to ensuring that we are competent clinicians who can then provide better care. Because obviously, we got to work on providing better care. Yeah.
Well, what I'd say to everybody that's here, you've got a day to go. Get across to SimX. Go check them out. See what's go and see them. Kendal Bailey, really appreciate you coming with us and having this conversation between two simulators.
Between two of them, honestly, between two simulators, it's a real thing.
It's a real thing. And keep in touch.
I will always. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Cheers.